Is your deck all that it can be? Is it better? How about now? Welcome to Lesson 3 of the Mind Crush Masterclass, where we capture and unveil all the core Yu-Gi-Oh principles that are both timeless and universal. Past, present, or future, these principles will always be significant and develop your ground game. In this lesson, we are revisiting hypergeometric distribution to emphasize how much freedom of choice you have. Your ideal hand can be anything you want it to be. This time, we will dive deep on the differences between a 40 and a 41 card deck with respect to different deck types: control, mid-range, and combo decks.
40 versus 40, gotta love to see it.
Now before we begin, if you have not learned Mind Crush Lesson 2 on 40 versus 60, then you are doing yourself a disservice. As we make references to hypergeometric distribution throughout this video, you may have a difficult time understanding what we're talking about. So learn Lesson 2 first, pinned in the upper right corner of your screen. Brothers, if you listen right to the end of the video, we've got a bonus just for you.
It's time!
Think macro. How can you expect to conquer if you do not know what you want? Everything you do stems from this. First, what is your ideal hand? What do you want to open every single match? In order to know what you want first, follow the body's principle from Lesson 1. Do you want to build your deck to see 2 other and 3 disruptions every 9 out of 12 hands? Only once you know what you want can you then utilize hypergeometric distribution to determine the ratios your deck must have. Any hypergeometric calculator on the internet will suffice. For those of you that are beginners at statistics and appreciate a simple user interface, YuGiOh.Party is a great calculator. And for the few statisticians out there like us who want all the statistical features available, StatTrek is an exceptional choice. Tangible links to both of these calculators are available in the description box below. Either or will get the job done to optimize your deck's ratios. If you do your calculation, whether you are piloting a 40 card main deck with 6 normal summon starters and you only want to see at least 1 per hand, or if you are piloting a 41 card main deck with the same goal, the impact 1 card can have on your deck is approximately 1%. In general, this is the difference between a 40 and a 41 card deck, but let's dive deeper. In Lesson 2, 40 versus 60, we introduced the concept of equilibrium, whereby no matter if your deck is 40 or 60, you can still maintain the same probable consistency with the right ratios, unless you choose to build a deck intentionally off equilibrium, of course. Such is the case when comparing different deck sizes. Some of you may strive for 60% instead of 57%, or some other desirable rate of consistency, like 85%, when Zodiac had 12 rat peers and they only needed to see 1 per hand. Now let's consider deck size with respect to your type of deck. There are 3 types of decks in Yu-Gi-Oh: control, mid-range, and combo. Control decks are designed to stabilize and control the field throughout the duel, from beginning to end. Tremendous interaction with the opponent, but very little recursion. While these decks are not necessarily focused on generating card advantage, they are notorious for having the highest win rates in Yu-Gi-Oh! If they can stabilize the field, and even more so if there is no field by going first. The following deck list is an example of a 40 card control deck. As we can see, this deck was built intentionally off equilibrium. There are 20 disruptions, 6 other, 13 starters, 0 extenders, and 1 brick. Considering these ratios, this pilot designed this deck to see 3 disruptions and 2 starters as their ideal hand every match. Sometimes 3 disruptions, 1 other, and 1 starter is possible as well. If a 41st card was added, card categories can be skewed by 1% depending on what that 41st card is. Control decks typically do not focus on accumulating card advantage with an end board plus 5, so it is generally not a good idea to run a deck size above 40. Combo decks are economically efficient, designed to maximize output of a single card. Tremendous recursion, but very little interaction with the opponent. While the field is important, the priority is to overwhelm the opponent with a resource advantage advantage. These decks also usually win the most in Yu-Gi-Oh, going first, if the opponent fails to disrupt them on their turn. It is common for one card in a combo deck to generate a +2 or +3 card advantage above the opponent. Such is the case with Diviner of the Herald in this following 40 card deck list. As we can see, this deck was also intentionally built off equilibrium. There are 3 starters, 18 extenders, 6 disruptions, 5 other, and 8 bricks. Considering these ratios, this pilot designed this deck to see 3 extenders, 1 brick, and 1 disruption every match. If a 41st card was added, card categories would still be skewed by 1% depending on what that 41st card is. Traditionally, the best combo decks tend to have deck sizes above and beyond 40 in order to reduce the probability of seeing a brick in hand, while continuing to maintain consistent ratios and a high ceiling for their end board. Mid-range decks are not a combo deck, nor are they a heavy control deck. These decks aim to have multiple disruptions set up, but also have recursion, similar to mid-range fighters, who can fight neither too close nor too far, at distances that are not within their opponent's range of throwing punches or kicks. In Yu-Gi-Oh, a mid-range deck can both OTK or control the game. Let's take a look at this 40 card mid-range deck list. This deck list was built on equilibrium, as most mid-range decks are. Without leaning too heavily on disruptions nor extenders, there are 11 starters, among 10 of which can become extenders, 10 extenders, 14 disruptions, 3 other, and 2 bricks. This pilot wants to open 2 disruptions, 1 starter, and 2 extenders every match. If a 41st card was added, like always, the card categories would still be skewed by 1% depending on what that 41st card is. If this pilot opens high impact disruptions, they can survive turn 0 against a combo deck. If this pilot searches for back row removal, they will typically survive longer against a control deck. This pilot can duel effectively first or second. The next time you test out your control, combo, or mid-range deck, consider your hypergeometric distribution. See if there is room for further optimization, whether that looks like 40 cards exact, or perhaps 41 is better. The choice is yours. Share your attempts in the comment section below, and remember, decide what you want first, then conquer. Thank you for listening. If you have received value from today's lesson, punch the like button, subscribe, and join our community, located down in the top pinned comment and in the description box below. As a bonus, exclusively for the real ones, here at Ground Game, we took the time to dissect and break down the law of diminishing returns. If you want access to lesson 4 in advance to take your ground game to the next level, just join us on Discord, comment your Discord username below, and type @Kozaki in the Mind Crush series Discord channel. Only matching usernames in the comment section and Discord channel will receive the next lesson in advance. That's game. GG.
Mind Crush!
Stand your ground.